Hey guys, in this video I want to give you an introduction into the visual builder that you've probably seen on your website already. If you're using the classic wireframe builder, that's totally fine. This is kind of just where everything is going, so I wanted to give you an introduction, and it functions very similar to the wireframe kind of blueprint builder that you're used to using. It just looks slightly different. If you're starting out with a new website, the Visual Builder is a great place to get started and learn how to edit your website, because in my opinion I think it is faster. I think it's a little easier to make changes, and plus you can see what it looks like in real time. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction and kind of explain how the structure of it works, and then in the next couple videos I'll show you how to edit text and images and videos and kind of all of that fun stuff. So right now I'm on my demo website for a little non-existent yoga class. Your website is obviously going to look different than this, but the functionality is still going to be the same. So when you're logged into your website, you've probably seen this bar here at the top, and there's an option that says Enable Visual Builder. This is what we're going to be working in with today. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Enable Visual Builder. And if you're used to using the wireframe builder, it's going to load our website to edit, but instead of that wireframe view, you'll notice that it's loaded our website page again, although there's going to be some differences here. As I scroll down, you'll see that we have a bunch of different icons that are showing up. And so the point of this video is I want to explain kind of what all of this means, what all of this is, so that way when you're editing it, you kind of understand the structure of it. Before I jump into that though, I'm going to show you how you can still use the wireframe view if you prefer to use the wireframe view, if you're not comfortable in the visual builder yet. Down here we have this purple circle, and if I click it, you'll see that we have some icons that slide out, and I can hide them again by clicking it. This box right here is got a couple different icons in it that you'll probably use. The first one is the wireframe view, and if we click it, this will show you the wireframe view that you're probably a little bit more used to seeing if you are used to using the wireframe builder. It looks slightly different than the classic version. It's an updated one, but it's still the same. It should still make sense to you if that's the view that you're used to using, and you want to continue editing that way, you totally can. You'll see that we've got our title here, our image to swap out and everything. So if this is the view you prefer to use, by all means continue using it. When you're done making your changes, you can hit save. So let's jump back into the visual editor though. So you'll notice that we've got a couple different rows of icons that show up as we mouse over stuff. So we've got this blue set here, which represents sections. And as I kind of mouse into this area here, you'll notice that we have this blue kind of border along the edge, and you can kind of see it going down the side here, and then of course along the bottom. This represents our sections. And if I scroll over into this white area, you'll see that it's another section because we have another row of blocks. And again, you can see the border showing you what is in this section. And then we have a third section here on this page. And I think that's it for this page. Yeah, okay. So we just have these three sections. Now within sections, there are rows. And if I mouse over here, you'll see we have a green box with options. The green represents our rows. You can have as many rows inside of a section as you want, and they'll stack vertically. So this section here only has one row, because here's the end of our section, so we only have the one row. We can add more rows if we want by clicking on the green plus sign here, and of course if we mouse over it, it will tell us add new row. This section has multiple rows in it. So if I mouse over this, we can see that the green box is covering this first block of content. And if I scroll down, here's another row. This one has 3 columns in it. This first one has 2 columns. This one has 3 columns. This third row probably only has 1 column with the button center aligned, but we can take a look at that. Because there's different things we could do to achieve the same effect. We could have 3 rows like this one does, but only put a module in the middle. So a lot of different options there, but we don't have to worry about that just yet. Within those rows are columns. And to change the column structure, that's this icon right here. It'll say change column structure. And this first row has 2 columns in it, which we can see right here. There are 2 columns, and both of them are equal width. But we could say, hey, this image is kind of big. Maybe we don't want it like that. Maybe we want the image on the right to be a little smaller. So we could choose this column structure where the left column is a little less, and the right column is a little bigger. So if I click it, you'll see that now the image has shrunk down because the column that it's in is not as wide. And the text has changed how it wraps here because it has more room. We've made that column bigger. If I switch it back, you'll see that the text wraps differently based on the width of the column that it's in. The other options that show up here are duplicate a row, and you could also duplicate sections, entire sections if you wanted. But I could duplicate this section, and you'll notice it just makes a complete duplicate right underneath it as a new row. And we can also delete it. Something that I want to mention here is if you're deleting stuff and you say, shoot, I didn't want to delete that, there is undo functions that you can use. So if you're on a keyboard and you're on a Mac, you can do Command Z, and you'll notice that our section showed back up here. So I'll do it again for you real quick. Command Z is undo. On a PC, I believe it's Control Z, or yeah, on a PC on Windows, it's Control Z. You also have down here in these options that slide out this little clock for your editing history. So you can see what your history is, and you can revert back to different versions of the page as you're editing. So that's just kind of a little helpful tool. If you delete something that you did not want to delete, you can undo it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. The other options are this little gear icon for row settings. You're probably never going to use this. I set a lot of this up in the design already. It's how you control the padding and stuff like that and the distance between items. It is there, but yeah, again, you're probably never going to have to worry too much about that, so I won't go into that. These gray boxes inside of rows represent the modules. And so this is an image module, this is a text module for the join now, this is a text module for the register online today, and this is a third text module for the actual body content. This little arrow icon here allows you to drag and drop, so we could move stuff around. We could say, hey, you know what, I'd rather have this image be on the right instead of the left, so I could drag this over here, and then I could drag our text over into this other column. And that kind of little gray rectangle that shows up shows you where it's going to be. So I could put it above the join now, or I could put it below the join now there. So we'll go ahead and move this other one over as well. So now that I've made my changes, I can hit save. To make sure when you're done making your changes, you hit save. And again, the save button is controlled by this little purple icon. It slides out there. So that's how you save it. I'll go into other modules and things like that on a later video. I just wanted to give you a quick overview of the structure of the Visual Builder, just so you kind of understand it. And again, if you're used to the Wireframe View, you can see that it's the same as before. We've got our image and then our three text elements. Let me jump back. We've got our image and our three text elements. So whichever you prefer to use is totally up to you. You can use either, whatever you're more comfortable with. The other thing that the Visual Builder offers, which is pretty cool, are these other icons here. So you can see what the site will look like on different devices. By default, we're on desktop view, but we could switch it to tablet view. And again, we could also switch it to mobile phone view. So you can see what the site will look like more than likely on mobile devices. Now, of course, there's tons of different mobile devices out there with different screen sizes, so this may vary, but this is going to give you a good idea of what it's going to look like. And you'll see that, you know, these used to be side by side on desktop, but now they're stacked on top of each other on tablet and phone views. So just kind of gives you an idea of what the site's going to look like. That's a very, very brief overview of the Visual Builder. These other things you're never going to probably have to worry about, again, except for the editing history in case you want to. All right, cool. So in the next videos, we're going to get into actually editing the text, swapping out text, images. I'll show you how to add videos, PDFs, things like that. So let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.